Welcome back, everybody. What's going on? We're going to take a look at the SPY here to start with, see what happened in the market. 2% uptick here today. This comes off of good retail news in the morning, so we saw that right off the bat. Sort of dwindle down the rest of the day. This also comes from the Asian markets being very up. They really liked the Fed bond buying news, and then London is always very aggressive after good Asian market news. In terms of supply, I went ahead and added the 308 in. We get another successful test there. I was being a little bit hesitant on it. Threw it in. 311 resistance, now support. This comes back from the supply level here. So it's going to be a little bit lighter, but I do expect that we are going to roll off this trend line a little bit, come back down. And it really depends on intraday, what's going to happen. But again, very bullish bias still. I do want to make a couple comments because it seems to continue to come up. You don't have to have trades in the market all the time. Sometimes you can just chill. Some of you guys are acting like you have to have all your chips in all the time. Sometimes just hold your cash, wait for the moment to rip it, and that's it. At least for the market view. In terms of tickets that I show you, that's a little different. We're not prejudging those on the market. We're judging them off the fact that there's some analysis and breakouts that lend to the fact that they're bullish or bearish, so you can buy or sell on those. So just want to point that out. Everyone should just chill for a little bit, figure out what's going on. I want to take a look at IQ from yesterday's video. If I did upload this in after hours and I gave you guys the chance to get in, you guys would have had some fun with that. About 26% on the day. It was way up even earlier. It started to sell off there. So this is a lot of fun. This was the megaphone, the out of control pattern I showed you guys. So this is pretty interesting. If I get a nice loss this big, I'll show you as well. So don't want you to think I'm giving you guys any bias. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some tickets here. I'm going to look at about 5 or 6 that I'm very bullish on. All breakouts of patterns that I believe are breakouts of patterns. And so we're going to get into that now. Starting with CORT. 2.5% jump here today. Looks like we broke out of a trend line here in this consolidation period. So it looks like this uptrend is going to continue. If you take a look, I want to first answer the question of how do I come up with the tickets that I'm looking at on that day. So I operate on 2 watch lists, a buy and sell. And after close every day, I will literally flick through them all and see if I can find any patterns, see if I find any breakouts. And I'm able to do that by just pure practice, looking at hundreds of charts every single day. You get pretty good at recognizing things. And then go ahead, I add them to the watch list, and I start breaking them down, see if there's an actual pattern emerging. So we're not just randomly drawing lines or anything like that. These are real things, and they mean different things. Patterns are real mathematical properties behind behavioral economics. They're not made up. They're things that occur over and over. And so I just wanted to kind of lay that out of how I find things. I'm not searching up betas or anything like that. I do have some ideas about those. But in terms of looking for patterns, which I like to do, because I'm a trend line kind of guy, you just got to see it. That's the only way. And so here is your continuation triangle here. So consolidation even came out of this trend range, and now we're back up. We're going to continue this range. So very bullish. There's some obvious resistance even here at the end of the day. Throw that on there. That didn't want to change, did it? So I get resistance here. So again, we close down here, but I expect to break out through that. In terms of support, probably about right here. Throw that down. And so you can see also from back here, there is going to be some more supply down here, but I'm going to try to get through this a little bit faster. Probably down here, right here, 310, sure. Right there, some more supply, but I'm expecting this to be very bullish. If you look at the fundamentals even, I don't speak about those that much. That's really something you guys can do on your own. But this is a very undervalued, strong earnings, good growth sort of stock. So I am looking at this. In terms of a range, maybe up here around 18.5, you know, something in that range for July 17th. 18's fine. This is a out of the money call down here sort of thing. You do have a lot of action that does occur when you reach up there, so premiums might be a pretty good price. So CORT, I'm going to go ahead and target 18.5. Next up is GGAL. Now this is something I'm very bullish on. This is a bottom fishing opportunity, but it looks like we're starting to get out of this consolidation, heading into the long side. This is going to be a very short-term pattern and breakout that we're looking at. This is just the bull flag, but you have to start somewhere. And so this is where I want to start my position. Again, I am long on this. It's pretty undervalued. The rest of the fundamentals kind of, they don't really exist, but I do like the look of this. And another thing that I know you guys will like is that it is down on the day. And so you had a breakout, but we did close below. And so I know a lot of times the positions that I post are from breakouts that happened that day. And so it feels like there's percentages that you're missing out on. But again, that's exactly how you find patterns. So this is a bit more conservative. You still get all these points to take. There's your bull flag. Very symmetrical. Nice look. Again, I'm going to plot up to here because that's your breakout. You did finish down here, but I'd expect that this now is going to continue this uptrend. Pretty good look. I'm going to map out some supply here. In terms of support, I saw something around here. Throw that down. Now there is more below, of course. Let me just take a look further back. Something in here. Put that down. Get an average of some things. I saw maybe not that far back. That was another wick, but in terms of resistance, I don't see much after really where we are. So, you know, after here or so, you don't really have much until up here. So that's really why I like this entry now, is that, you know, your next resistance is probably not until, you know, even up here somewhere, right? Something in here. Yeah, so you can see that. So I'm going to keep, you know, all this in mind because this is a position I want to continue on. I'm going to take a quick profit in here, but this is something I'm long on. I'm going to target, I would like to target above this. That is, I know that's a bit aggressive, but we are already crossing that resistance without much problem. Happened multiple times, so not the strongest. And up here, again, there's nothing locally. So I would like to target above this, maybe 14 or so, I'll say. In terms of calls, this is very good for picking up cheaper calls since we closed lower. So I'm going to target 14, hopefully pick up a quick profit in here. And so yeah, bull flag. Next up is CLX Clorox. So this is something I've been tracking for a while. You can see the trend lines that are here have been followed pretty religiously. This is a very big range, but that's because of the amount of price action and how bullish this has really been. If you just take a look from the history here, very steep range that we're on now comparatively. And so it looks like it's going to continue now because this consolidation got broken out of here today. So this is what I'm looking at, is this breakout here. Looked like we tried to break out there on the 11th. Didn't really make it. We did close here today. Now, we didn't break out with that much of a oomph to it, you know, not even 1% today. But I think what this is going to mean is that the price action is now going to pick up and we're going to see it really get up. So I really want to get in now before we see any more big moves, because this thing can definitely start moving once it gets going. So just from the behavioral sense of this trend line being broken, I'm really all in for it. So here's your breakout. So it's there. I could go ahead and rationalize the fact that we have this entire up here. So I'm completely fine with that. Because again, this is a consolidation. We're coming out of it. So There's the triangle. So again, the similar continuation triangle that we're seeing, we were already in this uptrend range. So we're going to continue this, but what it means more for my idea is that we're going to see it really start to get up now. There's no resistance up here. We have what? We get this. That's about it. This, I don't really consider this to be resistance here. I mean, look where we were. I think the bids were just coming in really relaxed to the trend line. So I think that what you're going to see is more reaction again here, but I'm fine with that. I can play off this. I can easily rationalize trading into this whole area. And so we'll take a look at what I'm going to target first. Let's find some supply. Definitely want to have some more areas to be able to bounce off of. Let's see. Maybe around in here. This is about what, 204? Let's put 204 in there. That looks pretty good. Keep that. So what I'm looking at is turning 210, this into support. Once it does, I think what you're going to see is some very nice action in here. This trend line seems to does seem to act like resistance. If we did climb above that, then you're going to be sad that you didn't get in before. I don't know if that's specifically going to happen. I would imagine it wants to stick with this, so maybe it does turn it into support, but it's gonna stick on this range. It seems to like that range a lot. In terms of a target, I'm gonna say, again, this is a bit of a longer period. Let me get a nice view of this here. Let's see, amount of bars. How much is this? Thinking more 250 or so over this amount of time. In terms of up here that I want to be trading in for calls, you know, I'm looking at this trend line, so something around here possibly. I would like to get a bounce in here if I can get them cheaper. Again, this is a longer pattern, so it doesn't need to be immediate. So CLX targeted about 250, you know, 255 even. Next up is IOVA. I'm going to speak about a few things before I get into any charting. At first, I wasn't going to trade any bios during this whole COVID fiasco because I don't believe of trading off of hype or news or anything like that. I trade off of price, volatility, and that's it. I find my trends, I find my patterns, and I find my position to enter. And I look for my exit. I don't use the news to base anything. And at first, I was a bit hesitant to do anything, but now I can't leave any money on the table. The way I'm looking at this now is I need to have confidence in the fact that I can make a story out of what's going on in here, and I can track a pattern and find a way to make money off of anyone else that's trying to base their decisions off of something else. They're not going to know when to exit. They don't know when to enter. They're purely basing off of news. And so even though this is a very ugly looking chart, there's no rhyme or reason. This is completely irrational trading. I can figure this out, and I need to keep that confidence so that I can actually make money. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into this. Just wanted to point that out. See a trend, something like this. I don't know if I want to keep it up here. Probably here is good. So got this uptrend here. Now we're coming down. So this is what I see. I see a bit of a wedge here. Now this is a pretty steep wedge. I would keep this area more, but I'm going to come from up here. So I'm seeing a breakout of this consolidation about right there. So this is what we're looking at here. Is this breakout? Tried, didn't happen. From the bottom side, you've got this. So there it is. Let me draw the rest of this wedge. So we were, in this uptrend. And then this is what they do. There's not good enough news, not enough hype. You fall down and you're going to consolidate like this. You've got you've got pricing moving pretty healthy in here. This is pretty healthy. But what is this? This is completely hype and news based around BIOS. That's it. Here, do people want to buy again? I don't know. But the fact is that I'm breaking out of this wedge here. That's telling me that I have an opportunity now to climb back up into this range. Now, are other retails looking at this as I'm going to come back up here? I don't believe so. And I think that's going to give me a leg up on the rest of the competition to make some money in here. Level-wise, support. Well, we got a few things going on here. Don't need to be exact. Something in here looks good. I do see some more. I could probably go lower. There is a lot of supply down here. Might be a good idea to plot that. Something down in here. Resistance wise, excuse me. Resistance wise, let's see here. What's our most immediate? Then in here, try to average it. I do have a wick here. What I'm looking for is really just an immediate threat. I don't think there's anything up until up here is what I'm looking at, but I do want to be mindful of something around here. I don't really see great confluence, but just want to be aware of it. Maybe in here. Not the best wick touches, but what I'm more looking for, I don't believe we're getting reactions to supply as much. Again, this is a bio, but I need to be aware of some of these areas where we're closing, opening, do have some wicks in here. And so when I look at this, I think this is easy to break here. The only problem is that we don't really turn anything into supply very well. So what I'm really looking for is to get back into this trend. I think this is proven. And so if I'm looking for a target here, I like this. I like this 41 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target 41. July 17th calls are interesting date. Not 41 for 17th, but targeting 41. For the calls, these are cheap. I mean, the thing is, I'm going to get these on a discount. And I'm expecting this to get back into this uptrend very quickly. That's what this signifies. You can tell how quickly this thing can move. So what I'm going to do, open, I will get in here. So IOVA targeting 41. Next up is DHI. What we have here is a bull flag. Now, bull flags are short term, but what's interesting about this breakout of this pattern, look at the amount of time it's actually occurring over on both your incoming trend and on this part of the pattern itself. Usually what you see is a very short time scale. And so when I look at this, I ask myself a couple questions of, does that mean I want to place my target further in the future, or do I want to actually make the bullish case even stronger? Do I want this to climb up even faster? And so how do I get back into this uptrend here is my question. When you look at the flag, you're going to continue this trend. I see it, but how far can this go? When I count the amount of bars here, that's pretty high up. You're talking, what's it? This is like 71. I mean, targeting 71 is quite an interesting play. Some calls up there are probably a penny. All you penny stalkers, you guys are buying the wrong pennies. Let me look for some resistance, but I just want to throw that out there of how kind of peculiar this position is. Let's see here. Maybe not exactly there. Something up with this bar. I do believe something was over here. Close enough. So resistance wise, we have this, and then obviously whatever's up here. I think there's probably a better tick to go off of from here. Let's see. You reset. So maybe just above, you know, something in here. That looks about right. So 6170. So really all you've got is these two resistances here, and then you're off to the races. We are breaking out very quickly. So if we are able to pass these in the next couple sessions, then this will definitely be coming true. Support wise, I see a lot down here. I see probably another tick down here, somewhere around here. So we'll keep these levels. So again, I just want to, you get a bull flag. The idea is that you're going to continue this uptrend, a very steep uptrend. You know, this is raising your blood pressure, of course, but that's the trajectory we're on. So I'm gonna target up here. This doesn't mean that's exactly going to happen in this amount of time, but that's what it's indicating. And so we need to watch. I want to get in, do something short term. I like the 17th calls, find out what the premiums are at, just playing off of that. But I should be able to get a bit of a higher range for practically nothing, and you're talking about risk to reward outfavoring really anything else. And so THI 71. Next up is cold. This is going to be the last ticket that we take a look at today. This is one of the real estate stocks that's forming a lot of the same patterns as the other real estate stocks we've been taking a look at, like SITC. We get these bottom triangles, and once we break out of them, that's good for the upside. Now, the big thing that's happening around this area is that we have so much uncertainty. And so that's exactly what you're seeing here. There's a lot of uncertainty. You're consolidating, and eventually something's going to happen. You know, we get these trend lines here. I'm going to start drawing them out for you. But the reality is something has to happen. We can't stay in this range forever. And so what it's looking like now is that we're finally coming to the upside, at least for cold here, to break out, reverse this downtrend, and really solidify an uptrend now. And, you know, a lot of this is going to have to do with reopenings and everything, but, you know, we've been trading past COVID for such a long time, and a lot of the drops that we got is really nothing compared to what we had. So I don't know if it's fair to say that COVID is really dictating all price action right now, because it's obviously not. It's definitely not. So here's your bottom trend that you're looking at. This is well before the apex as well, so that helps me confirm a breakout. Now, I have a lot of questions about how I want to draw this. If I draw from the high here to the high here, you're just getting a resistance level. And what I'm thinking is to do this instead, actually from here. And so I think this lends better to what this pattern actually means when you draw a bottom triangle or wedge. It's a consolidation, but it's not the same as some of the other patterns that we look at that are just purely consolidations. This is a lot to do with uncertainty. And so I'm fine with these breakouts here, because if you were looking at this at the close of these days, this trend line still existed. And so there was not a breakout of this pattern. So I'm completely fine with this being the true breakout. It really is. Because the fact of the matter is that you need this line and you need this line to be converging. Over here, it doesn't make sense. It's breaking out way too early for it to actually be a pattern. So just some justification behind the points that I'm selecting. I'm selecting this as my high, this wick, not here. So draw the breakout. So it's interesting. We get this on a lot of the real estate. It's just nobody knows. And so this looks like a good time to finally say, well, it's happening. This is the upside. So if you take a look where we are supply-wise, we have a lot of supply actually. That bodes well for the downside since we have a lot of support. Let's see what I can find in here. That's pretty strong down there, but I don't think we need to plot that far down. Probably around here, maybe even up here. It's up here. So I'm going to say around here. I like that wick touch there. So support-wise, very strong. No matter what, it doesn't need to be exact because there is a lot of supply in here. This trend line exists. Very strong case for the upside now. You have a lot to bounce off of. Resistance-wise is a very similar story. And even though it may be a strong resistance, it's going to give a very nice range to trade out of. So, you're looking in here somewhere. Maybe further down in here. Maybe about right here. I like this top. So taking a look into what's going to happen. Strong supply. This is a breakout over a long amount of time. So we're not talking short term, like the bull flag. We're talking pretty far out. The trend could be really anything. If I had to say, take further look again. I would imagine it's going to be higher than this. This is a steep trend, and this is from the end of the year. I'm going to say well above this. If I had to say, I would say about 47. 47 out here. Again, that's going to be longer term. So I'm not talking 47 next week. Next week, July 17 calls. Anything around this resistance. Anything above this resistance is going to be cheap. I can guarantee you if you look at calls, anything above that resistance is going to be cheap. You have supply here. You look at this level, there's going to be a lot of supply there. The price is not going to be expensive. Those of you guys that didn't pay attention in your economics class, you might want to read an economics book. That's literally all charts are. Anything above this, I'm looking at up here into the future. It's not going to move. It's not going to move fast. This is 13% here. I wouldn't call that the exact same scenario here. It can happen, and I want to set myself up in case it does happen. But I'm more looking at this. I want something stable. I want something that I can really find out what's going on and not be worried about where I need to sell. But there's nothing else up there. I don't see any other resistance. This is sort of something, but I'm not really worried about that. If we get above that, then definitely 47. So an interesting one. Definitely something to keep in mind. This pattern is going to continue to pop up with bottoms. So look for this trend line on other charts that you're looking at. It doesn't have to be exactly this. You definitely have this on all your charts. Sometimes it's flatter. So find this trend line. Find this trend line and then try to figure out where the highs are. And then you're looking for breakouts. This one's got nice supply, nice range. The rest of the tickets that I was looking at, we're not going to look at all those. There are a lot of good ones in here. There's great breakouts. There's money to be made. And so I would tell you guys to take a look at some of these. I'll post probably a few of them, but I want to try to get away from that, let you guys take a look on your own. And I just want to wrap up this video by saying keep practicing. Look at your charts, practice drawing trend lines, supply levels, because the reality is that no matter what your strategy is, once you've entered a position, you need to know what to look for. You need to know how to exit that position so you're not taking profits too early, and so that you're not selling too early or losing all your money for no reason. It doesn't matter how good of an entry you make. If you don't exit it at the right time, it's over. And there was no sense of even making the trade. And so practice doing this. Start understanding what price is telling you and figuring out what should you be doing. And so that kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video. Sometimes you just got to chill. Sometimes it's better just to have the cash and wait for a time when you're ready so that you can actually make a trade that makes sense and you know what you're looking for and you know what you're doing. You know, it's literally the only thing that matters. So hopefully that sentiment sticks a little bit. I'm going to post this video, post some charts up, other things I'm looking at, and I'll see you guys in the chat.